Hey everyone, welcome back to Tuckaway Pines. Today I just came down quickly to the preservation station. I need to grab some jars because upstairs I am getting ready to make some blackberry jam. So before I quickly run up and get started, I just wanted to kind of quickly mention that if you guys haven't been following along with us for a little while, I've been picking wild blackberries this season on the property. We have wild blackberries growing kind of all over the place, so today was a really big year for them, so I took advantage and picked a whole bunch. And now I'm getting ready to make some jam. In order for me to kind of have a whole heap of them, I just started freezing them, kind of saving them in freezer bags, popping them in the freezer until today, where I'm ready to make one nice big batch. So let me grab my jars, we'll head upstairs and I'll show you how I make my jam. Okay, so we are upstairs in the main kitchen, and here you can see my big pot of blackberries. I actually had to change pots 2 different times because I had so much. Didn't realize I really harvested that much. But I went ahead and just measured out how many cups of berries I have, because for this recipe it is going to gauge how much sugar I put in, because the jam is just essentially a fruit and sugar mixture. And we'll be cooking this down to make a nice, it's going to look like a sauce, but it will start to gel up into a jam. So I'll explain a little more about that once we get there. But so for this recipe, I have measured out 14 cups of berries. And these are strictly blackberries. With this recipe, you can mix in other berries, raspberries, blueberries, things like that, and kind of have a mixed berry jam if you'd like. Totally cool with that. But yeah, so first steps first is to start warming this up and kind of mashing it down into a nice sauce-like substance, if you will. Things are a little slushy right now. I tried thawing it out overnight. Most of it is, so hopefully it'll kind of cook down really fast. So like I said, I'm going to turn the heat up and let this start going. Let's start warming up, and then once things start really kind of mashing and breaking down and you kind of start seeing a liquid in there, that's when I'm going to start adding the sugar to ensure that'll start dissolving into the berry mixture. You can hear it starting to warm up and thaw out. So I will bring you guys back in once things are a little more mashed and cooked down. So here we wait. Okay, so everything is really thawed out. It's actually more soupy than it was before. I've been taking my potato masher and started kind of mashing up the berries a little bit more, kind of breaking them up and stuff like that. And now that everything's a little more liquidy, it is time to start adding the sugar. Now that I have 14 cups of berries in here, I am going to be adding about 10 cups of sugar. So, and then once we do that, we want to make sure it is nice and dissolved and everything cooks down nicely. Things will start to thicken up a little bit and kind of have that moisture evaporate off as it cooks down. So I'm going to finish adding the rest of that sugar because that's a lot, and I will bring you guys back when things are starting to thicken up. So when your sugar is dissolved, you want to add about 1/3 cup of lemon juice, or you can do lime juice. That helps heighten up the acidity level for these berries, so that way it's stable when it comes time to the canning process, because you want things to be shelf stable and not go bad or anything like that. So once your sugar's dissolved, add in your lemon juice, mix it in real nice, and then you just want to kind of keep it boiling until it starts to kind of look like it's, you know, cooking down, getting that moisture out of there and starting to thicken up a little bit. I have this on here for about 20 minutes now, so it'll take a little while for that to happen, but just keep your eye on it, stir it occasionally, and keep it on medium heat. And when I think it's pretty much good to go, or at least good to test, I'll show you how I test to make sure it is all gelled up and ready to start canning.
So the jam has cooked down quite a bit. You can kind of see the level has gone down and it does appear a little thicker. Now, in order to test the jam to make sure it's gelled up enough to can, what I like to do is take a small dish, like a small little platter or little plate, and I take a couple spoonfuls of the mixture and just pour it inside the plate. You don't want too much. You don't want to like fill the plate, but you want a little puddle, if you will. And then once that puddle is ready, you just want to take it and place it into the freezer. Now it'll sit in the freezer for just a couple minutes, not very long. You could do 2 minutes, 3 minutes, enough for it to cool down. And once it's cooled down after those couple minutes, take it out of the freezer. And what you want to do is just drag your finger across the little pile of jam mixture. Now, when you scrape your finger across, that mixture should stay separated. That's how you know it is properly gelled and ready to can. If both halves start bleeding back together into one puddle, that's how you know you need to cook it just a little bit longer. There's still a little too much moisture in that mixture and it needs to be cooked down. And then you can repeat the test until you have a separate line and it doesn't merge back together.
Okay, so once your jam has passed the gel test, it is time to actually start getting your water bath canner all warmed up and ready. Now, while I'm doing that, I'm actually going to take an extra step in making my jam. Now, this is an optional step. Not everybody has to do this, but I know there's certain people out there that can't, eat seeds or might not prefer to eat seeds in their jellies and jams. I know for me, with certain jellies and jams, the seeds are really tiny and they can get really stuck in the teeth and it's really annoying. So I'm actually going to take this extra step to take the seeds out of my jam. Now, blackberry, raspberries, things like that have like 1.5 million seeds and they're super tiny, super small, and it's going to take me a little while to get them out, but I have a good head start since the water bath canner is slowly warming up right now. Figured while that's doing that, I can start sieving out my seeds. Now, to talk a little bit more about that, and I'll kind of show you how I'm going to be doing it, but I know they have like different types of food mills out there. I currently have one, but it doesn't work for this small of seeds. I have only one size and or like one strainer attachment for it, so I can only use it for certain things. But as an alternative, I do have these fine mesh strainers. I have a couple of them, different sizes, and they seem to be working a lot better than my food mill. And you can kind of see what I got going on so far. And again, I'll turn the camera around, give you guys a close-up on how I'm actually doing this. So yeah, I'll get that going and we'll get the rest of these seeds out. Okay, so I finally managed to sift out all my seeds. You can see my big bowl of seeds right here. So yeah, it took a little while. It's a little bit of time consuming, so like I said before, if you had some extra pair of hands in the kitchen, this is where they probably would come in handy. But anyway, I got it all done. You can actually see here, it looks a lot, lot smoother, definitely. All the seeds, if not like 99.9% of them are out. So it seems really good. I actually cleaned out this pot before I put the seedless mixture back in here. And what I'm doing now is I'm just bringing it back up to heat, and I'm actually soaking my jars right now, warming those up and cleaning those. So while this is warming up, I'm going to clean my jars, dry them out a little bit, and then I'm going to start loading them because my canner is now starting to come up to a nice boil. So, alright, I'm going to fill my jars up, get them all lidded up and ready to go, and then I'll show you how I put them in the canner. Okay, so I got my jars all nice and filled up. I went with half pints, that way I feel like I have a little bit more. And I actually got quite a bit left in here, but this is what I can fit in my canner at the moment. And then after this batch is done, I'll throw in another batch. But I just wanted to say quickly that I did fill the jars up with 1/4 inch of headspace. And then I know it's not really a bunch of solids in here, but I just took like a butter knife and just kind of poked it in there a little bit to get any air bubbles out. And then I wiped the rims with some vinegar to ensure that the rims are nice and clean, and that'll help ensuring that you get a proper seal on your jars. So then I just put my lid on, and then I just screwed my bands on finger tight. You don't want to crank them too tight, otherwise you might have a burst or things won't seal properly. But now the next step is to put everything in my canner. And I also wanted to point out that I have like a cotton towel in here because I don't have a rack at the bottom, and the towel will help prevent any jars from bouncing around from the bubbles boiling, and hopefully nothing will crack and break in there. So next step is to load the canner and start the timer. And actually, before I do forget, for my altitude, I'll be timing or processing these for 15 minutes, letting them sit in here for 5 so they can cool down. Then I'll pull them out so they can seal the rest of the way and come back down to room temperature. But I will leave a diagram. I'll show you guys a diagram, and I'll leave it in the description to kind of break down the processing times based on your altitude. So. Alrighty everybody, I managed to finish all of my jars of all the blackberry jam, and it looks like most of them have sealed up already. It kind of happens relatively fast for the most part. Usually you have some ones, a couple jars that kind of like take their time when it comes to sealing, if they do at all. But I managed to get 10 half pints, and I've been just kind of letting them sit on the side right here on this rag or towel right here. One, so they can properly cool down all the way without being disturbed or jostled around too much. And 2, because they are extremely warm coming out of the canner, that I didn't want them ruining my countertop. So a little buffer is always nice. So, like I said though, they've been sitting out here for for about an hour or so maybe. Just letting them cool down, let them do their thing, hear them popping and sealing. And I'll probably let them sit here for the rest of the day. Later on tonight, I'll label them. Don't forget to label them. Put a date on them. Today's date, when they were processed. And then I will take my bands off. I'll obviously leave the lids on, but take the bands off before I put them on the shelf downstairs. That way I can always ensure that that seal is still good. Because if the band's still on there, it could give you a false seal. So always remember that. But yeah, so later on today, if not tomorrow, I will label them, take my bands off, date them, and put them downstairs on the pantry. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I thought it was really fun. I'm trying to bring you guys along for more preservation projects that I'm doing here. So yeah, I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys learned a lot. So don't forget to like, don't forget to leave me a comment, and definitely don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any more projects we do here on the homestead. Thank you guys. Bye.